Today I'm going to talk about what is a rotary cutter for and why we would use it, and then the safety measures. So there are many different rotary cutters. There are small ones, we've got some medium, and some really big ones. Today I'm going to talk about what is a rotary cutter for and why we would use it, and then the safety measures to go about so that we can keep our limbs on us safe, okay? Okay, so the first thing I'm going to talk about is safety. So when you have a rotary cutter, it is an open blade, okay? So you can see the blade is inside, and each rotary cutter has a different way of opening it. So this particular one, you take the knob and you pull it down. When you do, the blade is now open, okay? So when you are using a rotary cutter, you want to, of course, keep it away from your hands so you don't cut them off, okay? So we're going to go ahead and shut it. So when you shut it, you can see that it actually goes up. Okay, now the next thing that you need to do is when you shut it, you want to face it down, okay? So some people think that, oh, it's shut, I'm not going to get hurt, but there are some blades that even when you shut it, that blade is still accessible. There was one of my blades that I have, it was shut, and I went and reached for something else and my hand just swiped right lightly over top of it. I sliced just a little bit of my fingers. So I have learned that I always put it face down, no matter what, because you don't know if that blade is still accessible. They are very sharp, okay? That is why many people do not teach children to use rotary cutters. So if you have a child or a, 12 through 18-year-old that you want to teach to use a rotary cutter, we recommend these safety gloves that you can get. They can come in one or a pair, so that when they are cutting, then their hand will be safe. So you can find them on Amazon, and I will, you can look in the description of my video, and I'm going to put some links to some of the rotary cutters that I have and that I really like, and also to some of these rotary cutter gloves. The next thing that you're going to need is a really good ruler. So this one is an OmniGrid, and it has these little circles. It's a non-slip pad that's on it, okay? The next thing, of course, is your mat. My first mat was about 22 inches by 18 inches. Now that I am working on bigger projects, especially I like to have it for when I'm doing my quilts, to cut off the edges. It's actually 24 inches by 36 inches. So there you go, it's a yard. So the next thing we're going to talk about with safety is your shoes. So you really should have closed-toed shoes, so that if you are using your rotary cutter and for some reason it actually slips and it drops, it's not going to cut your foot. One thing I always try to do is when I start cutting with my rotary cutter, I go run in the other room, grab my tennis shoes, put them on, and cut, put my rotary cutter away, and I take my shoes back off. So it's okay to do that, okay? But we need to be safe so we don't lose any limbs, right? Let's go ahead. I'm going to show you an example of cutting now. I have this cute state of Missouri fabric that I just got when I was doing the Missouri Shop Hop. It's from the Salty Hippo Studio in Chillicothe, Missouri. The lady, the owner of this place, she designs and hand prints every single piece of fabric. This stuff is amazing. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut 2-inch strips. First, I'm going to cut off the selvage. So I'm going to line it up the way I'm going to use my mat. There's grid lines on your mat and there's grid lines on your ruler. So I'm going to make sure that my fabric is straight and across the top, and it's going to be straight along the edge. So this is the main reason why we want to use a rotary cutter. So that was one of the questions, why? Why would you want to use a rotary cutter and a ruler and a mat? Why do we want to have that extra expense? So think about it, when you're using your scissors, you're just kind of eyeballing it and you're cutting it, you're trying to go straight. Even if you have a ruler next to it and you're using your scissors, it's clip, 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 and sometimes it's clip this way, and it's like jagged little edges as you're going. Where if you're using this ruler and you line it up, if you look really close, there's a line right across here. And I can put that right across the top of my fabric, and then I've got my edge right across the spot where I want to cut. So here I go, I'm going to line it right across the top, and I'm going to do it right across where the selvage is. And I look at the bottom and line it up across the bottom. So I have 3 places that I can line up to make sure that it's straight. My left hand, I'm going to push down. I'm going to put some pressure on it so that it doesn't push away, okay? So you need to push down on your rotary cutter, okay? Some people like to put it down like this. Some people like this. You need to find out what is comfortable for you. So you can push down, use a little elbow muscle to push down, okay? And it came right away. Okay, so I want to show this. Did you see what I did? I immediately shut it and faced it down. Okay, so look at that. I want you to take a close look at that. Do you see that nice straight edge? That is beautiful. Okay, so like I said, I want to do 2-inch cuts on this. So I'm going to line it up. I've got my straight edge now so that it can line up at the top, line up on the side, and line up on the bottom. Okay, so now I can count 1 inch, 2 inch, and I can come over here and bring it down, and I can bring it right to the edge, make sure, and bring this line everything up. I've got my line at the top, my line at the bottom, and make sure your fabric is straight also. So I'm going to show you my other one. So this is my Olaf rotary cutter. So with this one, you squeeze it in and it brings the blade out. This one I like because it locks it. So now it's locked open. And then I can unlock it. I can also lock it shut. So if you have children, so I bought this when I had small children, because then if they get a hold of it, it couldn't open because I locked it shut. So now I'm going to unlock it and open it and lock it open. Okay? So now, again, I'm going to go straight along the edge. So this part right here is going to line up right against the ruler to cut it. Okay? So it didn't get all of it, I didn't push quite hard enough. Do it right again, and there we go. Okay, I released it, and I'm going to just go ahead and lock it shut. Okay, and then press it. Okay, so you look at this. So I now have a 2-inch strip. Okay, so I'm going to do a couple more. I'm going to show my different rulers that I have, or not rulers, rotary cutters that I have. Okay, and I'm going to also show you as I go along. So I've got it all on my table now, on my cutting mat. So if you have it all lined up, and you know, I'm going to even do it further over, line it up at the top. So then if I'm going to cut the whole entire thing in 2-inch strips, if I have it all lined up, then I can just move my ruler down as I'm going. Okay, so this particular one, this is a Fiskars. So you take it and you slide it up, okay? And then there's the blade. So again, we're gonna put the blade right up against the edge. Hold on to your mat, keep your thumb away. You don't want your thumb over here, you want it back away, okay? Make sure that your ruler again is straight. Make sure your fabric is straight, and go ahead and slice up, and then immediately shut it and face down. Right here is a Kai, K-A-I. So this one I really like. So this one has two different settings. So it has one where you're just doing one layer, and then it has another where it has multiple layers. So let's say I had like 5 of these. I could layer these all up, and it's designed so that I could cut through 5 layers really easily. And it's a really fun rotary cutter to use. And I bought this one in Washington when I was there. Okay, so I've got it on that, and we'll move it over 2 more inches. Check it again, make sure we've got it straight still. Get our lines all lined up. And we'll go ahead and remember to push down and push. There it is. Got my 2 inches. Okay, for this one you put it in the center to shut it. So you see each of them are a little bit different. And then this one is also an Olfa, but this one you pull down and the blade is at the top. Okay, so I'll put this on the next 2 inches. Okay, so as you can see, they're all different. They're like little pizza cutters, but for fabric instead. Okay, so you can see how these rotary cutters work. And there's, the shop hop I went to today, I was over in Lathrop, Missouri at the Farmstead Quilting shop, and they had a brand new rotary cutter I'd never seen before that shaped, and it's an L shape, and I already have so many rotary cutters. I did not buy that one, but there's a lot out there. So find what works for you, and remember all of the safety techniques so you can have fun and start making some quilts. So thank you so much for joining me today on Creating Joy, and I hope you have fun using your rotary cutter.